Hello, hello. I think we should be live, and I think everything should be working. Hi guys, one eye and ear on the F1, the other here. F1 as in Formula One? I don't even know what the fuck's going on. Not really into that sport. Another world-class BitBoy level thumbnail. I'll take that as a compliment. Even though anything concerning BitBoy is probably not a compliment at all. Audio video good? Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Before we start, big shout out to FTX for sponsoring the show. They've been amazing to work with and offer pretty nice service that you can use on your mobile and on your computer. So if you want to do any of that kind of stuff like trading around and lending and in general just being like able to do stuff relatively easy, check them out. The links to that are in the description, and appreciate their support and obviously appreciate your guys' supports as well. Formerly known as Blockfolio. Yes, I don't know, like it was easier when they were called Blockfolio, but now they're like FTX and Blockfolio under one hood, which is pretty nice as well, I guess. Don, when Dubai? I'm flying in tomorrow. Still gonna have to like get a fucking PCR test and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna be a stressful day tomorrow because I've been told that you actually need to print that test result out, and I'm gonna get the test while or like on my way to the airport. So that's gonna be an interesting one, but we will see. We will see. I'm up at midnight grinding on Discord for whitelist lol. The stream is a godsend. Yeah. What you do nowadays in crypto, huh? Wild space. Hard cred for me. Cred's not coming, sadly. I'm going alone. But yeah, let's get to the markets for like at least a little bit, and then we can do the casual side of things. Are you afraid of getting doxxed in Dubai? No, not really. Not really. I mean, I have the most common name imaginable, and plenty of people have already seen me, so it's not like big of a deal. I've been on TV before. But yeah, with regards to crypto, especially Bitcoin, because that's the only real thing that's really interesting right now. Monthly looks amazingly good, turned from really, really shit into really good just by putting in this candle. And I mean, it's more obvious on the log when log is turned off. Looked pretty shit here. Now it's reclaimed quite a bit from the drop. Not looking that terrible, as long as that's holding up, right? If it goes back down this month, I mean, we're in deep shit, because then it starts looking like you have like a high here and a low high here. But I'm not expecting that. I'm leaving to Dubai with my portfolio in crypto, or like at least my crypto exposure being higher than non-existent, which was pretty much from 60k all the way down to 30k, and then I was trading back and forth and been adding since 40k, but just hoping that it doesn't rug pull me, because I'm not going to take anything trading wise with me. So I am at the mercy of the market while it's pushing into weekly resistance. So that's a little bit scary, but we'll manage. We will manage. On the weekly time frame, I think like if you're a range trader that can't help themselves, I think like high time frame range is this one currently. So between 45 and like the 58k area. I wouldn't want to trade that way. I'd much rather bet on like continuation to the upside, given how close we are to this high, and double tops rarely exist. So even if this goes sideways, you'd expect it to go up eventually, unless like the global macro situation changes, which I mean, then there's nothing you can do about that, right? Like if the S&P dumps or anything of that sort, like not just a little bit like we've had, but like majorly, we're gonna be fucked in crypto as long as they have been, right? So can't kind of hide from that. But unless that happens, I mean, it's just TA wise, this just looks good, right? You have you had support hold, you even had like fake out below that support, and then full moon send it season into another pullback, another fake out into higher. Don't really mind this chart whatsoever. I think like if you want to be looking for pullbacks to buy into next week, given we have Sunday and the weekly close is going to be in like 10 hours or so, it's probably going to be somewhere at least in this area, hopefully. I think, why did I make this red? Green was correct. Then like the 51 area like is pretty decent bet. And with regards to the daily time frame, I mean, there's nothing. We talked about this actually like on the last stream, and it's kind of funny how that played out. I'll talk about the low time frame stuff in a bit. But yeah, so far it's just going sideways, right? Which is good. You want to see sideways action after a push up like this above resistance, as long as it doesn't like continue to do this, spike up and then down. We talked about that on Friday. That's the one thing that you don't want to be seeing, right? As long as it's just sideways and it starts pushing up slowly again and starts ramping up, that's a very constructive sign. So yeah, the daily still above all supports, and there's no resistance left, right? So looking pretty good on that front. The lower time frame stuff, this is actually something we talked about, and it's kind of funny to see it play out, right? While it was happening on Friday. So Friday, we talked about this SFP stuff where people were going to short into the SFP. And I was like, they're going to get fucked. And here you go. Just took a couple days and then they got fucked. Now it's much, much harder to guess where price is going to go, right? Like I knew these people that were shorting the SFP would get wrecked on the lower time frames. Now that they have been, I don't really see like a good target or a good trade to be had on the lower time frames. It's just on the higher time frame, still looks good. So expecting higher makes sense. Does that make sense at all? Everyone's still following? That was like the speed run through all the time frames. And what all of these time frames, whenever I talk about these time frames, right, when I'm saying, okay, monthly looks good, weekly looks good, daily looks decent or whatever, what this means, right, for the people that don't know, you want to have as many time frames as possible on your side, right? So let's say you look on the monthly and you see like a bearish setup form there, then it's more likely that weekly setups are going to play, or like when you have like a 50-50 on the weekly, or you're like, okay, where is this going to move? It's more likely that weekly is going to break down. And the same thing on the daily, right? So if you have like a couple time frames agreeing or disagreeing with your theory or your setup or whatever, just reduces or increases the chances of that playing out, because then you have a bunch of people that trade high time frames behind you, and that can help drastically, right? There's a bunch of people, myself included, that don't really care too much how the 4 hour looks. Like for example, right now, no fucking idea what this is supposed to be, right? Or where it wants to go. I don't really care about this. So if you trade this in the right direction, or like if you trade this in one direction and you have like the people like me or other people that just care about the higher time frames at your back, kind of supporting your position by buying a bullish setup on the daily, for example, if you're bullish on the 4 hour, that's going to make it a whole lot easier for price to go up. But if you're kind of trading on one side on the lower time frames, while the higher time frame guys position in a different direction because they're seeing something that you're missing in the low time frame chop, then good chance you get wrecked. So that's why I go through these time frames, because it's pretty important to know where you are, both on the lower time frames, but more importantly, even on the higher time frames. Okay. TV, is that on YouTube? Nah, it's not. It's not. Hi Don, will you buy more Tezos once Bitcoin has had its moon run, or looking rather at coins like ETH? I'm not really looking to buy more. Like I bought some, and if that setup fails to play out, and I mean, it kind of looks like it's going to, I'm gonna get rid of it, and that's that. not looking to buy more. Like you won't ever see me add to a losing position if I didn't plan so from the beginning. And I mean, right now I'm still in profit, but it's like, it's too close to being invalidated for me to add. Don't really see the point. Thanks so far. Could you say something to your exposure to XRP? I don't have any right now. I sold that a while ago. It's actually looking relatively decent again. I like the bounce from the weekly support. I might, if I come back from Dubai and it's above 2,250 sats, I might buy some again. But until then, yeah, I mean, you can play the weekly time frame bullish setup on XRP USD. I don't think that's a terrible setup. We talked about this a bunch back in the day, where I said, like, if you get to buy 0.9 to like $1, that's a pretty good buy. And I mean, it's been a good buy. But right now I don't have exposure, because I think, like, in general, like, whether, let's say this ranges here, right, between 45 and 58, if we leg down here, right, altcoins are going to take a shit. They're going to recover in this sideways chop if we do that, but they're going to take a shit, right? So don't really want that. If we break out of this weekly resistance, I think the altcoins are going to take a shit. So, like, for me, not really too interesting to buy too many altcoins right now. I'm only ever going to buy the altcoins where I think I could be missing out, like an entry that I'm not going to get again. And right now there's not that many coins out there that give me that feeling. Still doing the Tezos round trip? Yeah. I mean, it's the way to go, right? With Tezos. You buy, you make money, and then you give it all back. Ripple swell on October 14. Yeah, that sucks. Gonna miss that one then. Didn't even know that was gonna happen. So yeah, that's Bitcoin. I don't think there's much more to say about it. Like, yeah, the 4 hour looks kind of okay. Not much there to kind of trade off of. But yeah, the daily and the weekly and the monthly all look good. Is there a reason you use a chart of a pair from particular exchanges, or is it random? Most of the time I use the one with the most history, so that I can kind of go back. So for example here, this is not the one with the most history, but I think, like, the Binance actually imported some data here, because, I mean, Binance, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they were trading Litecoin back in 2013. But yeah, usually you try to go for the ones with the highest volume as long as they have meaningful history. So you don't want to be the guy that charts on, like, an exchange that just recently listed a coin and then you miss something. But you also don't want to be the guy that charts on an exchange that barely trades. So for example, I have some charts here on Bittrex from the older days that I just didn't, like, for example, Dogecoin, that I didn't update. These are only really useful for the higher time frame stuff. Like, if you want to, like, chart this on the 4 hour, Bittrex isn't really the exchange to follow, because there can be quite the big spread and quite the big wicks on Bittrex, because the books are thinner and barely anyone uses that. For me, these are just because Bittrex been trading Dogecoin for a long, long time. So, yeah. But Dogecoin, an interesting coin to talk about, because it's been taking a beating like crazy, even though, like, dog coins in general haven't been doing too poorly. This is still, in my opinion, the indicator for when we're actually going to top out again. I think if you see Dogecoin Moon, for like a couple days straight, not just for a day or two, but, like, let's say this does something like this for like a week or two, I think that's going to be relatively close to the Bitcoin top. So that's something that I'm going to be watching. And the reason for that is just that, like, whenever you have Dogecoin pump, like, the most clueless people in crypto, or the people that are completely new buy stuff like Dogecoin, right? And when they start speculating heavily again in crypto, it's usually near at least a short time frame top. And they've been getting wrecked. And if that starts turning around on them, I'm gonna be more cautious. Right now, don't really see any reason to be too careful based on the Dogecoin indicator. Did you trade or participate in any markets before crypto? I'm wondering how long you've been trading. I tried my hand at FX before, not because I wanted to trade that market, but because I wanted to learn how to trade in general, and like the demo trading and all that kind of stuff. Pretty much the new trader support was much better back then in FX than it was in crypto. There wasn't really any kind of useful data that you could use to learn how to trade back in 2016, 17 in crypto. So that's why like I did the FX route. But yeah, for me, I just looked at the markets basically. I mean, everyone does that, I guess. Beginning with my Dogecoin purchase in, I don't know, I think it was 2014. I still have the wallet, so I mean, could look at the transactions, but like roughly there. I bought some Dogecoin, followed the markets closely. So I started out with crypto. But back then, like my account balance was marginal, and I wasn't doing it full time either. It was just like buying and holding and then looking at the market, pretty much like most of us did in the beginning. And then that marginal sum got larger and larger, and I was like, oh shit, this is interesting. Maybe you can make something out of this whole trading stuff. And that's when I started going full time. So not that long, haven't been trading that long, just a couple of years. My dad aped Shiba, Inu, and 2x in a day. Meanwhile, my ETH bags are heavier than blue balls. Yeah, I think like in general, ETH's the best kind of analogy to the altcoin market, and there's a good reason why I don't really talk about altcoins too much right now, is because, like I said, if Bitcoin moons here, altcoins are gonna be in trouble, and the same thing is the case if it dumps. That's why I've been kind of warning about like the altcoins. And ETH, look at ETH USD. It's been going up a little bit, but much weaker than Bitcoin has, right? If you look at the lower time frames, you see like one push and then it started rounding out. Now you look at Bitcoin, you have one push and then another strong push, and it's just going straight sideways, right? You can see the difference. Like Bitcoin looks like this, and now you look at ETH. This is ETH. So, I mean, obviously indicated by the ETH BTC chart just going straight down. That's been down like 20%-ish. By the fact that I think people are realizing that if we do super cycle, which a lot of people are talking about, right? It's going to be a Bitcoin focused move. And if we fuck off and die from here, because for most people, including myself, those are like the two most probabilistic outcomes. Either we just go completely ballistic and break 60K, or we just die. Most people don't think that we're gonna go sideways in here for a couple of months. I mean, it could happen. It'd be surprising to me, and I think to the market as a whole. So given that information, most people know that like if they're stuck in altcoins while the Bitcoin move happens, they just take on more risk than they're willing. So people de-risk on altcoins, ETH being the easiest one to de-risk on because it's so liquid, and then you get these like ETH BTC going down 20% even though Bitcoin's going up. How old are you? Around 30. Why are you asking? Hey Dawn, is Cred dead? Is a question right before Cred writes, didn't even know you were gonna stream. Yeah, I mean, no, Cred's not dead. And yeah, this was like, I planned on streaming Sunday. I told you like Friday, I think, that I was gonna, because I have no idea how the internet's gonna be, and I have no idea how my time is gonna be in Dubai. So I wanna like get at least like an extra stream in before I leave, so that if the Wednesday stream that I usually have doesn't kind of work, that's it's not a big deal, or like not as big of a deal. When did you buy your first bit of crypto ever? 2014, pretty sure, early 2014 or something along those lines. I tried buying Bitcoin with my mom's credit card back when there was no real exchanges at like roughly $1. There wasn't really a price for Bitcoin back then, but yeah, roughly $4 back in the days when you could still mine Bitcoin with your CPU. So quite early. My brother told me about it and was like, this is internet money. And we tried to get it, needed a credit card, or at least for the way that we tried to buy it, we needed a credit card and my mom wouldn't give me one. So missed out back then, and then just kind of kept eyes on it. I'm gonna bring back Mondays when you're in Dubai, most likely. Let's fucking go. Cred stream on Monday. You heard it here first. So yeah, Cred's gonna pick up the torch, the charting torch. I'm gonna miss out on that. I'm not gonna be on weekly open either. So that's Bitcoin. With regards to ETH BTC, like I said a million times, I have no idea why I nuked the lines. Must have done that by accident. But we're kind of ranging in here between like this area here and this one, right? So this is like the big range for ETH. And if you look back on the 2017 run, like if you expect a bullish crypto, I honestly could see this happen. So ETH being in here right now, performing like shit, dumping, and then going again. I could see that happen. It just seems realistic. I wouldn't want to short based on that though. Like if it dumps towards like 0.03-ish, maybe a little bit lower, I'm just going to be buying, expecting this. Doesn't have to play out, doesn't have to even come close. It's just like, if it does happen, I'm more than willing to buy. And yeah, otherwise you can play this range again if you want to. I mean, I have a bunch of ETH to kind of put into NFTs and to like other stuff. So I have ETH exposure, but still, right? It's not as like that high that I couldn't just sit through like a 50% drawdown on it. And then just buy more. Like that would be fine by me. If you're not ready for that, I mean, you're probably wrong trading crypto, because everything can go down 50% and still be bullish in crypto. Don, you're the reason why I'm Swedish? The fuck? How does that work? I mean, okay. What? Okay. FUD 0.5, then up only. I mean, I'm down for it. I'm so confused, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. Barely anything can get me off course, but that comment did it. Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, ETH kind of looking boring. That said, on the USD pair, ETH kind of looks good, right? With the double top. And with the support being held in here, not bad. I could see it go up. And in that case, when ETH BTC looks so shit, then ETH USD looks so good, just makes sense to use that as confluence, right? So Bitcoin is probably, like there's even more indication that Bitcoin is going to go up just because the ETH USD chart looks so good. Don's lost child. Yeah, from Sweden. I mean, I've been in Sweden before. But I mean, that wasn't more than, that was roughly a year ago. If he's like a year ago, like a year old, or like a couple months old and already chilling in my streams, then there would be a possibility, but very, very unlikely. So yeah, that's a double top there. Double tops barely hold in crypto, if like ever. Like whenever you get a move like this, you go up, you go down further, make this, and then go down again. What usually happens is that you start rounding out and start running these things. And I think that's the case. Like that's the most likely case for this one as well. I'll change my tune below weekly support So below like 2.7K, it starts getting really, really dicey. But even this, look at that. Like this was the best place to short ETH if you wanted to short ETH, which I think would have been a bad idea anyway. But let's say you're a bear, right? If you want to short ETH somewhere, it would have been this box. And if you're any like smart bear and it started running up again, where you would want to close that short that is underwater would be still this, right? So, I mean, bears kind of got like lifted out. If you're not completely bear hearted, you kind of got your exit back at break even. That's pretty lucky. But yeah, I mean, we're above the last resistance in double top territory. So makes no sense to be bearish on ETH USD just yet. I don't like how ETH BTC looks, but I mean, as long as like I have a bunch of ETH and as long as that appreciates in USD value, I don't mind it too much, right? So we have like a high here. We tested this support. Now I would like to see it break the highs, and that would probably push ETH BTC up again, because then people start getting ETH FOMO. So that's kind of like my hope for ETH. It starts getting, like I said, a little bit dicey below 2.7K. And first kind of like warning signs that this is actually gonna be a double top and it's gonna roll over would be losing the support box in the 3.3K area. But I don't think that's gonna happen. Like, I don't think we're going back to 2.7. I really don't think we're gonna lose 3.3K. But I could, like, with the 3.3K thing, I could be wrong. With the 2.7 thing, maybe I am. Trend starts rolling over above, below 2K, right? This is where it really starts getting shit. And then, like, at that point, I would start being afraid. So if, like, the ETH BTC thing plays out, where I said, like, if it goes down to, like, I mean, 0.3, which is, like, 50% away, I would hope that that would happen with Bitcoin just absolutely gigamooning. And it would suck for the ETH holders, because they'd probably be sitting there with Bitcoin at, like, 70 or 80K, and their ETH still at, like, 3, 4, or 5K. But, I mean, that's how this thing goes. Baby sweet Don? No. I mean, hopefully not. If that guy is my child, I'm in trouble. Can I ask what you think of trading crypto charts versus USD over BTC? In general, you should look at both. And in general, you should only trade altcoins when they're bullish against Bitcoin. Because like for example, ADA, right? You look at ADA, we can actually there's way too many lines. I don't care about them anymore. You look at ADA, right? ADA, USD. And you look at this and you're like, I've been sitting in ADA in the last few weeks. I'm down a little bit. Let's say you bought the all-time high. I'm down like 28%. It's not that big of a deal in crypto, whatever, right? Or in general, like I've been exposed to this, hasn't really moved. It's fine. But then you look at the Bitcoin pair chart and you kind of see the real story, which has been massive outperformance against Bitcoin on the way up. And now the Bitcoin is actually pulling ahead again. ADA is performing terribly against Bitcoin. So ADA is down like 30, almost 40% against Bitcoin from the recent high. And that's probably going to continue. Like, I don't think ADA is, I'd be surprised if ADA just pulled another run. I think that pretty much was it. Then again, like, still wouldn't want to short this. But you don't want to be trading something that's bearish against Bitcoin just because you're bullish on it on the USD pair, because then you could just trade Bitcoin instead, right? If this Bitcoin pair goes down, you could take the less risky trade by just being in Bitcoin, and that's something that people are gonna learn if Bitcoin pulls a mega run, because then what you see is Bitcoin goes up 50%, the altcoin goes up 10% against USD, and shits the bed against Bitcoin, obviously. And then the altcoin traders get really, really angry. Like, that's the one way where you can make altcoin traders capitulate, because they never capitulate when prices go down. They're like, fuck it. Prices are going down. They're going to come back up again. But if they see Bitcoin running, they actually start doubting their altcoin because they're like, holy shit, my altcoin's not moving. I should get like, I have no Bitcoin, and then the media starts being like, Bitcoin is the new gold, blah, blah, blah. And then they get bombarded with like their friends and family having a little bit of Bitcoin, and that's going up, and they're sitting in an altcoin, and it's not going up. They start selling. The altcoins perform terribly against Bitcoin and USD, and then the altcoins rebound, right? That's usually how the game goes. Oh, we hit 30k subs. Definitely gonna do a Monday stream. Let's fucking go. Yeah, it's been actually going up on the YouTube side of things, I think. So yeah, that's kind of my feeling. Pretty nice that like the bearish case is all like, I mean, it's pretty hard to make it nowadays. It's pretty nice that that's been invalidated, and pretty nice that we kind of got on board in time. Like trading wise, this was really good trading, and then entry wise, this was really nice entry. I think so. Pretty happy on that front, and just hope that the cycle continues, and we all get like even richer from everything pumping. We need to bring the podcast back too. Yeah, definitely love doing those. Just gotta get a good guest in. Are you not worried your JPEGs will devalue in short term with ETH moons? Yes, so like I have an NFT portfolio, right? And what I've done with it basically, right, is like, what you need to know about NFTs. They're illiquid as fuck. You can't trade them around. Like, I can actually make a list. Illiquid as fuck. Reason for that being is like there's no real, like you don't have, they're NFTs, right? Non-fungible tokens. So like if you sell it, someone else has to actually be interested in what you're selling. It's not like Bitcoin where a bunch of people sell and a bunch of people buy. It's just like there's one seller for that individual kind of piece. So like in general, like it's harder to kind of get in and out of positions just based on that, right? If you look at OpenSea, for example, for the popular kind of NFTs, there's like 100, 200 sells a day, right? And then you compare that to Bitcoin, where there's 1 million trades a day, or I don't even know how many, but like insane amounts. So you can get in and out of Bitcoin relatively easy. You can't with NFTs, right? You're stuck in them. And then two, the fees are stupid high. That is something that people just seem to miss in general with the NFT side of things. Because if you look at OpenSea and how much they charge you for selling and buying, it's actually incredible, right? You sell like, typically it's between 5 and 10% of the value, right? So if you trade these low time frames completely, like you're just wasting your time. Fees are already bad in the normal market. In the NFT space, it's terrible. And then you also have the thing where it's like, even like the upside's enormous, but the downside is like it going to zero, and like you not like the downside is huge too, right? Like the downside is legitimately downside equals zero, like flat out. Like Bitcoin's not going to zero, right? NFTs, a bunch of them can. Now the upside for NFTs is that like a lot of them are still just like tiny market cap things, and the hype just barely started. So you can actually make a bunch of money, but you can lose all of what you put in. So knowing all of this, right, I'm not gonna sell any NFTs if they're not going to target. Any of the stuff that I've bought, if they're not going to my sales, I'm just gonna backhold them down to zero, and I don't give a shit about it. Knowing that also means, right, that I'm not gonna put in a marginal amount of money, right? Not marginal. Jesus Christ, I think marginal means the complete opposite side of that coin. I'm not gonna put in a giant amount of money or anything that I can't like deal with losing. So for me, it just means that I just put in it. I am going to put in a marginal amount of money. I'm not gonna be putting in masses. So for me, basically, I buy an NFT. I write it off as 0, and if it goes to target, I'm happy. That's kind of my NFT strategy. Trading those around completely stupid in my eyes based on the fees and the illiquidity. Yeah, so I don't really care where they go until they go to my target. So there you go. So that means like if ETH moves up and my NFTs go down because of it, I don't care, because I mean they were gonna go to 0 or my target eventually anyway, and if it's not reaching one or the other, like I'm not gonna do anything with it. So there you go. That's kind of my view on those things. Like if you're trying to make it into game theory, okay, if ETH goes up, my NFTs go down, blah blah blah. I think you're missing the point mostly. But I could be wrong on that front. Maybe there's like an edge there. It's just for me, I don't see it. Floors aren't real floors. People don't really understand what floors even mean in the NFT space. Floor is resistance. Like when you see like on the NFT site, and I mean, I can do that. Maybe I can do that in Dubai because I mean, I'm going to stream on a fucking laptop anyway. So the charts might look scuffed, but I can show this, like how this NFT stuff works on like OpenSea or whatever. But like floors are resistance, not support. Because the floor is basically where people start selling. But yeah, there you go. That's kind of my speed run through NFTs. And I'm not an NFT expert. I just bought a bunch and willing to sell them for like a 10x to 100x higher. And if that doesn't happen, willing to back hold them to 0. So yeah. Don, you recently talked about the tax law in Germany that future gains and losses are not considered together. You pay taxes on the gains and the losses don't matter. Can you say which law it is, please? I don't know the name for it, but I mean, you can find it. It's like if you have more losses than I think 20K, then you just pay on your losses and on your gains. So let's say you have a trade, you win 100K, and then the next trade you lose 100K, and then you win 100K and you lose 100K. And then the losses exceed to like 20K, like on paper, you start having to pay for the total amount of winnings, right? So let's say you won, like you did that back and forth and you're at 0, you didn't make any gains. You still have to pay for what you gained in every single trade minus 20K, because that's like the maximum amount that they can kind of cut off. So that means like if you have a volume of 1 million and you trade it around 10 times, you still have to pay taxes for like half of it, basically. Or like, yeah, that like German taxes are pretty much 50% of what you make. So it's like you're going to have to pay 500K in taxes minus 20K, which is the cutoff, equals minus 480K, even though you didn't really make any money. So you're down minus 480K, even though like you have no winnings whatsoever. That means you can actually go broke by having break-even trades, or like in general, like being break-even on the year. And you can even make, like you can go broke by just making a small winning. So gotta be careful on the futures trading stuff. And I'm no accountant, and this is just like the simplified version of it because I don't want to go into depths of it. But yeah, you gotta be seriously careful if you're trading on leverage in Germany, if you have any significant amount of money there. Like if you're just trading $100 or whatever, no one cares. But if you're trading like upwards to like, yeah, whatever, 5, 6, 7 figures, you should know the laws. And that's the reason why I don't really margin trade nowadays anymore. Not worth it. That's not for spot trading, right? That's not for spot trading, exactly. So that's only for derivatives and like time trades or whatever, like options and stuff. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it. Any other questions to the market or anything else? I think I'll do like a quick Q&A for like 5 or 10 minutes and then head off, because I actually have like to be on a call in a bit. And then I have to pack my bags for tomorrow. Still looking at Link? No. I sold my Link quite happily with, like, you can see where I sold my Link. Yeah, I'm happy that I got out of Link relatively closely to top, and yeah, this just looks complete garbage against Bitcoin, so I'm not gonna get back into Link anytime soon. Had my fun with Link, made a bunch of money, got out before the top, didn't like take it to the, like I could have taken it to 35, only took it to, I don't even remember, like somewhere in the middle there. Been a while actually, but now don't really care. I think it's pretty much exactly back where I sold it, or like somewhere in the 28s or 29s is where I sold it, after having bought it at support down in the 24 region or something. I don't remember, but like I don't want to be buying or selling altcoins that are weak on the Bitcoin pair. Did you do XRP? Briefly, yeah. I think it's actually not looking too terrible, but I'm not gonna do much with it. If you wanna be trading XRP, this was basically your chance to get in at the last support. I think that it shouldn't go below 1963 in that area. Like if you wanna make a box, this is must hold. Like if you go below there, it's fucked, I think. And this is breakout level. If it goes above there, it probably goes higher. So if you got it in here, I wouldn't sell it at that resistance. I would sell it much higher. Me personally, I didn't. And like I said, my altcoin view is a little bit darker than most, which means I think if Bitcoin does any significant move, these probably break down. And then I have better entries elsewhere. But yeah, if you got in at support, I would take that bet and try to run it up and then take the invalidation as like a close below 2K sats. Isn't it impossible to be profitable for even the best traders then? Yes, pretty much. You can't be profitable if you derivative trade in Germany, unless you work around the law, which you can if you start a GmbH and just trade on your company basically. But that involves a lot of paperwork. You have to keep extensive documentations on all of your trades and the reason you took them. And I'm just not in for it. Like I'd much rather trade spot at that point. It's not like I need the leverage too badly anyway. Is this fight really happening? Thought it was all a joke. No, it's really happening. It's actually gonna be on TV too. Loomdart versus Rookie and Luke versus Barney is gonna be happening. Is that the law for EU or just Germany? Just Germany at the moment. Who knows if that... I don't even know if it's going to stick around for Germany. I've had a bunch of angry comments about like that, like my comments about margin trading, where people commented being like, you're lying, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, you can just look it up. Like, stop being like angry in my comments. You can just look it up. In Germany, that's how it works. So, yeah. Where can I watch the fight? No fucking idea. If you're not going to Dubai, I have no idea where it kind of premieres, but just follow Mo or Loomdart or any of those people on Twitter. It's probably going to be posted a billion times there. Banning futures is better than these tax rules. Yeah, I 100% agree. I think these taxes, like this tax rule is kind of illegal. And I think it's probably going to get... like people are gonna sue and it's probably gonna get overthrown. It's just, do you really want to risk that, right? If you want to just trade and risk being out for like millions and millions of dollars and even being able to kind of go broke, because let's say you trade 100 million in volume, right? And you can easily do that in crypto. It's not really hard if you leverage trade, and then you have to pay taxes on like half of that. You're fucked. Like even if you get that money back, let's say your portfolio is like a couple million, right? And you have to pay 40 million in taxes. Have fun paying that, right? You get fucked completely. And then if you have like, you're broke for a while until you get back, if you get it back. So can't recommend. It's simple, just don't lose. Yeah, I mean, that is true. That's true. If you never lose. And I mean, I have taken a bunch of leverage trades, but I've taken them with little bit smaller size than usual, and only the ones that I'm like almost 100% certain in. So with regards to like leverage, I took the Evergreen trade. Evergreen, Are they evergreen? Jesus Christ, these names. Evergreen, was evergreen the Chinese thing, or was it the boat? Because I always confuse the two. Evergrande is the Chinese thing. Yeah, I took the Evergrande trade, which was shorting in here and covering in here, because that was almost always gonna happen. Evergrande, yeah. Evergreen is shit that got stuck in the camel. Yeah, I picked up on it. But yeah, I took the Evergrande trade because that was almost always gonna be like a nice leg, and that's something that you can take on leverage. But beyond that, like I was pretty certain we were gonna go up, but I didn't take any long because I was afraid of getting fucked. So you can kind of see my ambivalence to leverage there. So there you go. I think that's it. That was more than plenty. I need to kind of reserve, like get my voice back on track because I've been a little bit, got a cold and I'm getting over it. But I don't want to, like imagine going to the airport and starting to cough, not because you have COVID, but because you have a cold and you don't get into like the country you want to go. Oh, fuck that. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to take it easy. But yeah, appreciate you guys coming by. Appreciate the sponsor of the show, which is FTX. Their links are in the description if you want to check them out. They do mobile trading pretty much as good as you can make it in crypto. Definitely the best one, in my opinion, out there. So if you're interested in that, check them out. And they also do like your portfolio tracking and all that kind of stuff if you want to. So yeah, pretty nice stuff from them. Appreciate their support, appreciate your support, appreciate you coming by on like your Sunday chilling with me. And we might see each other on Wednesday again if I can manage to get my internet going and if my laptop doesn't get lost on the way to Dubai. So yeah, I'll keep you updated. If not, I'll figure something out. Maybe do like a Spaces with Fred or something on the phone. That should probably work. But yeah, we'll see each other and have a nice rest or like start of the next week. And yeah, until then, bye bye.